Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and I just got back from watching the new horror movie Weapons, which has been a much hyped horror movie over the course of the last several months. As the trailers came out, it's got this amazing premise which has gripped a lot of people in the horror community, and I'm well aware that the script for the movie was leaked at some point like last year, but you know, I tried my best to avoid any spoilers coming into this, and I highly advise you do too. You know, you can watch the trailers, you're able to piece some things together, but I will say the hype paid off for me a lot. Like, I really enjoyed this movie. I think there's definitely going to be some people where, you know, kind of like Barbarian, who this was made by the same guy, you know, you walk into this one, you expect certain things, and maybe the twist does not work for you, but it worked really well for me. I feel like it all made sense, and I feel like there's enough lingering things where, like, okay, they answer the majority of questions, but there's enough lingering here where you can sit here and try to piece things together as exactly like, how does this work, why did this happen, you know, stuff like that. And I'll also say that while this is an amazing horror movie, it's also surprisingly funny at times. It's got this like kind of sick sense of levity at moments where you're like, okay, the imagery and the stuff that's happening is horrifying, you know, like I would be terrified in this real life situation, but a character will do or say something really funny and you're like, that was so stupid, this person's an idiot, god, that was funny, but then it goes right back into horror, right? So I feel like it really is able to kind of straddle that line of, you know, horror comedy almost, but definitely more horror than comedy. And just some of the imagery, you know, like it's just got a lot of that iconic moments that are gonna like stay stuck in your brain, you know, for several days. I will say it's not the scariest movie of the last decade or anything like that, right? Like I still say, you know, that can go to, I don't know, Hereditary or maybe the Smile movies or something like that, right? But as far as like creativity and just some of the concepts they came up with, I really enjoyed everything that happened here, and it's just really solid, you know. And another thing, you know, non-spoilers obviously, just the ending. You don't see many horror movies end this way, you know. Usually a horror movie will end with, you know, either a sense of relief because like the hero, you know, wins or they get away, or like, you know, the people that you were rooting for to survive end up surviving. Other times horror movies can end like in these really downer kind of depressing things where you're like, dang, the villain or demon or ghost or whatever won, and the characters you were following the whole movie, everybody died, you know. This one ends in kind of a celebratory way, I guess, or maybe just like you feel justified, like you wanted this thing to happen so badly, and then you're seeing it happen at the end, you're like, yeah, you know, like you're kind of cheering almost, you know. So, you know, it's still, you know, I guess when you sit and think about it, you're like, okay, well, still a lot of horrible things happened, and it's definitely one of those situations where you're like, well, how, like in the real world, how do you explain any of this? Because there's no way to sit here and like explain exactly what happened to like the police, right? Like if the police are like, hey, we need to take you in for questioning, what happened here, right? Like you can't sit here and explain what the hell just happened in this movie. So it is kind of one of those, like a lot of horror movies are those. But yeah, I will say the ending was very satisfying. The horror elements were very creepy, and a lot of the imagery is going to stay stuck with me. But yeah, overall I had a really great time with this one. I can already see some people maybe not loving the format that they have it in, you know, because this one does kind of have like I guess you would call it like a chaptered or sectioned off format, where like this chapter ends and then another chapter starts and you're kind of following a different character. And you know, I can see some people wishing that this was more of a linear, just like tell me one story from beginning to end kind of thing, whereas this one sections itself off. But that didn't bother me at all. I actually appreciated that because it was able to, I guess, revisit earlier moments and kind of see it from a different perspective and you know, you kind of get more filled in on what exactly is happening in this world. But yeah, overall, Weapons is great. Like, genuinely, I think, like, horror movies have been having like a great, like, last 5 to 10 years. Like, they've been having a great run. You know, it feels like horror is in this point where the genre is just really strong overall, right? Like, superhero movies are kind of I guess fading a little bit, you know, and maybe video game movies are coming to replace them as like the big blockbusters, but the horror genre is like still riding high, like, surprisingly. Like, it seems to like just have this ever-ending strength, right? Like, the days of, you know, horror kind of being this thing that's looked down upon is kind of over, right? Like, I don't know, I just, it feels like we're in a really good place right now. Anyways, I highly recommend you go watch this. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.